Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. So today I decided to do a video of my own choosing a fragrance for each zodiac sign. I'm sure you've seen a bunch of these, but I just wanted to choose ones that I felt most represented each sign. And if you guys are into zodiacs and astrology and all that stuff, then I'm sure you can appreciate this video knowing that it's much more than just your sun sign and that there's birth charts and a lot of other elements that come into play when you're analyzing someone's personality. But if you're not into any of that stuff and you don't subscribe to it, then I just hope you enjoy the video as something fun of what I personally think matches each sign. And I'm not really someone that 100% follows all of that. I don't believe in horoscopes or any of that stuff, but I will say I am someone that really relates to my sign. I find that I really fall into the same category of pretty much all the personality qualities or the strengths and weaknesses and even the compatibility charts that they make. All of my closest relationships throughout my entire life have very much followed that. Maybe because I'm born in the middle of what my, sign 30 days are supposed to be, but I don't know. So for me, it's just much more of a fun way to choose a fragrance within my collection that matches each sign. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more videos and let's get into it. So we will of course start with Aries, and this was actually a really easy one to pick because I have a number of Aries in my life. I am a Gemini, and Gemini and Aries are a very strong match, just like Sagittarius and Gemini, because air signs and fire signs tend to be very compatible, and then earth and water tend to be very compatible. So I love Aries. I have pretty much loved every single Aries I've met. They are very extroverted, they're very out there, they're energetic, they're charismatic, and I find that to be true of pretty much every Aries I've met. On the other hand, because each sign has, good qualities and bad qualities, just like all of us, some might find them to be too out there, too loud, or manipulative, or just, I don't know, something of that kind of nature. Personally, I have loved every single Aries, and even the crazier ones. I just find that they're so fun to be around and always the life of a party. So this was really easy because so many Aries in my life actually really love this scent. It's their signature scent, and I can kind of see why. It does really go well together. So the scent I chose was Elie by Thierry Mugler, and I have the Eau de Toilette, but any of the originals, either the Eau de Toilette or Eau de Parfum, so not the flankers, I feel like that is my Aries pick. So many people in my life that are Aries, as I mentioned, love the Eau de Parfum, Eau de Toilette. It's an incredibly strong jasmine scent. It's a recognizable scent. If someone's wearing Elie, you know that they're wearing Elie. And by that same vein, I feel like an Aries will make themselves known. They are out there, they're energetic, they're super charismatic, and I guess you're either gonna love or hate that, but that's very much the same thing with Elie. Elie is out there and you know what it is. It's super recognizable. It's not shy, especially the original formula. I've heard not so much with the reformulation, but the OG formula is beast mode, and I feel like Aries are beast mode as well. So that is my Aries pick. Then we move on to Taurus, and Taurus are regarded as being very loyal, they're hardworking. On the other hand, they can be viewed as being stubborn and not being flexible. And I have really, when I was thinking about Taurus, I wanted it to be a scent that lasted a long time and was really, was really strong in that way, because I felt like I wanted to take that quality of being, sticking to your guns or being stubborn and turn it into a positive thing in fragrance. And so I wanted something that lasted a long time. I wanted it to be a popular fragrance. I find Taurus just matched with something that was popular, that was a designer fragrance, that was a bestseller, and for some reason I wanted it to have patchouli. I felt like Taurus and patchouli went together. So thinking about all those things, I came to the conclusion of choosing La Vie Est Belle by Lancome for Taurus. And this has a very strong patchouli note. It's a patchouli note that I don't tend to love. It can get weird on my skin, slightly soury, slightly just too much personally on my skin, but this is an incredibly popular fragrance. It's constantly, ever since its release, been on bestsellers lists. So many people have it or owned it or have tried it, and there's a bunch of flankers as well. I just chose obviously the original to represent Taurus, but I just felt that this was classy, it was popular, but it's incredibly stubborn. Now, having sprayed it, I feel like my entire room is definitely gonna smell like La Vie Est Belle. And yeah, it sticks around. It's got incredible longevity and sillage, but yeah, it's a stubborn fragrance. It is gonna stick around on your skin, in the air, on your clothing, and patchouli and Taurus, in my opinion, just kind of go really well together. So that is my Taurus pick. Then we move on to Gemini, and as I said, I'm a Gemini, and Geminis do sometimes get a bad rep. I will say that. I will try not to be biased, but personally, I feel like I really relate to being a Gemini. As I said, I was born very much in the middle of that, and we're very communicative. We also are very outgoing. We're air signs. We are a mutable sign as well, so I feel like we're very adaptable. We like to try many things. We're interested in so many different subjects and topics and career paths. And because of that, and we love to dip our toes in everything, and we love to be, you know, speaking. Communication is a huge thing for us. And we love communication. We love to always be around people. And on the other flip side, I feel like because we're so multifaceted, some may feel that that is two-faced, or that, you know, we play to too many sides. We also can, you know, feel comfortable being alone and appreciating solitude. So I really wanted the fragrance to have a lot of different notes to represent kind of dipping our toes into everything and being interested and curious about everything. But I wanted the notes to be different. I wanted them to have powdery notes all the way to like animalic, richer notes, and not just, you know, 12 notes, but they all be floral notes, and that not really show the variety, because I feel like Geminis, not just myself, but all the ones I've met, are really into variety being the spice of life and being interested in many different things. On the same hand, it's not going to be something that's a very clear-cut fragrance that's just a floral or just a powdery scent, or, you know, sticking with the opening being the same as the dry down. So with all of that said, I picked True Lust by Untitled Chapter. This is a beautiful scent. It's one I obviously love, but what I find really interesting about it is how many notes in this. I think there's like 17 notes that are listed. There might even be more, and they really have a range. There's powdery, soft notes. There's animalic notes in here. There's, you know, floral notes. There's woody notes. I find that the variety in this is a really good mix of what Gemini represents, of just wanting to try everything, being curious about everything, wanting to talk about everything. And on the other hand, you know, it really isn't a fragrance that is super dependable to just be one thing. It's not like, it's the exact opposite of a soli note, basically. And so that is my pick for Gemini. Then we move on to Cancer, and Cancers are the sweethearts of the zodiac. They are so kind and welcoming and warm and just really friendly. And on the other end, some see them as playing the victim and being very sensitive. I do think they're very sensitive and very emotional. I feel like they're oftentimes empaths, and so I wanted something closer to the skin, something softer, maybe something powdery, and nothing that really brought in notes such as, you know, licorice or leather or patchouli. I wanted it to be very soft and very, I don't know, warm smelling. So I went with Pravda Candy Kiss, and this, you guys, just, I love this fragrance. I absolutely adore this fragrance. But on top of that, I feel like whenever I spray this, and if I were to imagine who would exclusively wear this, it's someone who's kind. It just smells kind. It smells like someone who is sweet and warm and welcoming, and for me, that's exactly what a Cancer is. They might be a little more sensitive. They're not going to be harsh or brash or in your face, And this is exactly that. It's soft and warm and powdery and so, so beautiful. So that is my pick for Cancer. Then we move on to Leo, and Leos are also very out there. They're so much the life of the party. I feel like they're always on the go. They're incredibly, incredibly confident, and I find that they make great actors, and they'd be really good in show business because they just can put themselves out there and be incredibly confident. And on the other side, some people might see that as being too confident or too in your face or just too much. So I really wanted the fragrance to be one that showcased someone who was confident, that had leather or licorice or cherry, something that was gonna last a really, really long time and, you know, could last even into the next day. Because as I say, I feel like for me, Leos are just so, they have such a full schedule. They always have something to do, a party or an event, or they're working and they're always on the go. So I picked Black Perfecto by La Petite Robe Noire by Guerlain. And for me, I have worn this before where I've sprayed it, gone to sleep, and woke up and could still smell it on my skin. This has licorice. This has leather, a beautiful leather. It has cherry. It's slightly like a darker floral. You have to be confident to wear this, and I find that it's strong, but it's also, it's not just bitter, you know, it's not just a strong, harsh scent. It's fun too. I think that cherry almond note to it just really keeps it fun, but definitely confident and not afraid to put itself out there. So that is my pick for Leo. And then we move on to Virgo. So for Virgos, they are incredibly organized. They are very diligent. They're very loyal. They are incredibly hardworking, and they like to stick to a schedule. I find that Virgos are so consistent to their sign. I really haven't met any Virgos that aren't like this. They love to be organized. They see so much pleasure in having a routine. And all of that just made me think of choosing a fragrance house that was a classic and also a fragrance that was a classic. Because on the other side of all those positive qualities, some may view Virgos as just being, again, incapable of change and not being as mutable as some other signs. So I kind of imagined a Virgo choosing a fragrance and then consistently wearing that fragrance, that classic fragrance, their entire lives, and always picking it up whenever it ran out, not really trying to change up their fragrance or try something new, choosing a classic and sticking to it. So I had to go with a very classic house, Guerlain, and an incredibly classic fragrance, Shalimar. And I just have the eau de toilette, but either the eau de parfum or eau de toilette, the original again, this is undoubtedly one of the most classic fragrances that's still, you know, in production today. It is very, very vintage smelling. It's not for everyone. It is definitely strong, but I find that even if this isn't for you, pretty much every frag head or someone who's into fragrance can appreciate the artistry of this fragrance and the classic nature of this. And I could just see a Virgo picking this up, as I say, when they were young and kind of wearing it throughout their lifetime and being very faithful to this, both to Guerlain and to Shalimar. So that is my pick for Virgo. Then we move on to Libra. And Libras, I find they have the scales as their symbol. They are just the mediators of the zodiac. They like to listen to both sides, analyze both sides. They're not one that are gonna jump in and pick a side and be super decisive. And on the other side, I feel like they're the, you know, negative qualities, if you will, are that they are indecisive and they don't just make a decision and stick to it. They like to view both sides and kind of play it safe. So I wanted to choose a fragrance that played it safe, that wasn't, you know, trying to be something incredibly unique or incredibly out there, but that was a beautiful, soft, I also feel like Libras are really, like, it just evokes like a very soft imagery, like a soft floral. So I wanted to pick a beautiful, niche, soft floral, and that had to be Feminin Pluriel by Maison Kurkdijan. This is, for me, it's safe because it incorporates so many different types of florals. You know, you've got rose and violet and lily, and it's just so many other things. It's not just one type of rose. It's not throwing itself into one type of floral, rather. It is incorporating so many different things and yet remaining very light. It's an airy floral. It's a slightly shampoo-y floral, and I find that even if you don't usually wear florals, you might be able to wear this. And that kind of represents the scales for me. It is incorporating so many different things in it to keep it safe, to keep it wearable, to keep it fresh. And for me, that really represented Libra and their scales of just trying to see both sides, not letting anything overpower another thing. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful pick, and totally recommend. Then we move on to Scorpio, and Scorpios, much like Geminis, I feel like also get a bad rep. They're seen as being very strong, very out there, again, very, very confident. And on the other hand, I just feel as though a lot of them are misunderstood, but I did want it to be a stronger scent. I wanted it to be a darker scent, a richer scent. And I find the Scorpios really aren't interested or bothered of how they're perceived. They're just going to be who they are, and that's actually, I can really appreciate that. They are who they are, and you either love it or hate it. So I wanted to choose a fragrance that wasn't really changing much, that wasn't, you know, super citrusy and then turned floral in the dry down or turned musky after a while. I wanted it to be strong from the first spray, and you know, you basically got what you paid for. And I also felt like going a little bit more niche because I just felt like that might work with Scorpio. So I went with Black Orchid by Tom Ford. This is a very strong unisex. I felt inclined to go more of a unisex type scent. It's very strong, it's very, very rich, and it's slightly bitter. It's not really sweet, I would say. It's definitely not light or powdery. It's definitely dark and rich. And what I appreciate about this and how I relate it to Scorpio is I just feel like it is what it is. You either want to smell like this or you don't. But in having it part of my collection, when I do want to smell like this and I want something deeper and richer and darker, especially in colder weather, then I know I can depend on this and I know it's going to deliver every time. And when I'm into something softer or lighter, then I just don't reach for it. But it's an incredibly strong fragrance, and you know what you're getting from the first sniff. So that's what I wanted to choose for Scorpio. Then we move on to Sagittarius, and I love Sagittarius. As I said before, I get along so well with them. I find that they're just incredibly like their sign. They are the life of the party. They're so warm and energetic and out there and playful, and they don't take anything really seriously. They're just great to be around. And on the other side, you know, people can say that they don't really take anything seriously, and they're a lot more into having fun and being playful than being, you know, very regimented or serious. So I wanted to pick something super fun, super girly, that wasn't trying to be like incredibly sophisticated, but that I absolutely adored. And I had to go with Girl of Now by Elie Saab. This is such a fun fragrance. It's a very well-loved fragrance. It's got orange blossom and pistachio and almond. It's sickly sweet. It's nutty. It's slightly syrupy. I love it. It is a really, really fun fragrance. And it just makes me happy the way Sagittarius people make me happy. And you know, it's not something that's incredibly refined and niche by any means. It is just a beautiful, fun, really, really easy to wear, in my opinion, sickly sweet designer fragrance. So that is my pick for Sagittarius. Then we move on to Capricorn, and Capricorns, I find they are very hardworking. They're great managers. I feel like they would be, you know, I wanted to pick something that was office friendly, that was safe, that really wasn't going too strong in any particular category. And I find that, you know, Capricorns just, they're relentless in being hardworking, and they just are really good managers. They're really good directors. And so I wanted to choose something that, you know, showcased that strength, but also really wasn't that especially creative or out there or especially girly. I just wanted something that was nice and safe and office friendly. And so I actually picked Lady Emblem by Montblanc, and this is exactly that. I find that, you know, it's fruity and it's floral, but it's got a little bit of musk there, not too crazy. It would be a perfect office fragrance. And actually when I was choosing mine, I was looking up the notes for this because I knew it was a fruity floral and I wanted to read more about it. And to me, this is a very office friendly scent. And actually the top review, or the first review on Fragrantica, said the same thing. It is incredibly safe and yet, you know, not just bland. I think it's more interesting than that, and it's more creative than just being like, you know, a very, very soft floral, but it's still incredibly safe and fun and just enough in each category without really being any of them. So that is my pick for Capricorn. Then we move on to Aquarius. And so I wanted Aquarius. They are just so unique. They're air signs. They're so creative and unique. I feel like they can come up with the most interesting ideas and plans that no other sign can think of. And at the same time, they're really chill. They're pretty relaxed. They aren't really in your face with anything. They are just chill and unique. And on the other end, some people might view that as being wacky or a little bit out there in ideas. But I just wanted something light, airy, or watery, but that it had a touch of uniqueness to it that you wouldn't really expect because it's so chill. And for me, that's actually Ralph Lauren Blue. This is just, it seems as though it's going to be just a watery, aquatic floral. And yet, the lotus in here, there's something in here that is so much more unique. It is also the thing that makes it murky on my skin, so I don't love it as much as I was hoping to, but it is the thing that brings intrigue and interest to the scent. Otherwise, it would have been perhaps a more wearable scent for me, but a more dull scent at the same time. So this kind of really encapsulated Aquarius for me. They're airy, they're cool, they're chill, but there is a level of really like of a unique mind in there, and that kind of represented that. And then finally, the last sign being Pisces. Pisces and Gemini are apparently not really supposed to get along, but for me, Pisces, they're emotional, they're much more introverted, but they're incredibly artistic and musical, I feel. And so I wanted something that had notes that invoked someone who was confident enough with themselves that could be comfortable and fully comfortable in solitude and spending time by themselves. So I wanted it to be a tea fragrance because I just associate tea with, you know, being indoors, being more introverted, being chill, and spending time alone. And so I went with one of my favorite fragrances, actually, Everything and Nothing by Tokyo Milk. This has sweet orange, pressed petals, desert moss, and tea leaves. And for me, this is a fragrance you wear for yourself. You know, it has pretty good projection actually, but all the notes, while they are strong enough that you can smell them, they're just so beautifully soft at the same time. I find like the tea leaves in these it smells like as if the tea has already been steeped, so it's like wet tea leaves. The orange isn't too in your face. It's a very sweet orange, not incredibly citrusy. The pressed petals kind of represent a lot more of their sensitive nature, and yeah, that was my pick for Pisces. So those were all my picks for the Zodiac. As always, don't forget to leave me in the comments if I came close to guessing what you would like for your sign, and if not, leave me what you think best matches your particular sign or any of the other signs. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye!